Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Circle. I'm joined by another incredibly special guest. You may know him from clubs such as Gwent Hockey Club, Preston, Cardiff and Met, Hampstead and Westminster, Royal Beerschot in Belgium, his current club in the Netherlands, Pinoke, and he was just back from the Hockey Indy League for Team Gonaska. His international stats are unbelievable, with 81 caps for Wales, 46 for GB. My box wasn't almost big enough for his international achievements. He's a 2023 silver medal in the Pro League. He's a Tokyo and Paris Olympic athlete, Birmingham and Gold Coast Commonwealth athlete, the Sultan of Johor winner for the GB under-21s, and played a key role in Wales getting to the 2023 World Cup in India for the first time ever. Achievements also outside of the international. He's first class honours in economics in Swansea University. He's a co-owner of a very successful coffee truck, The Social Bean, and he's the first Welshman to win an EHL trophy in 2024 thanks to a 1-0 victory over Kampong for his team Pinoke. Please welcome everybody, Jacob Draper.
Thank you very much. Blimey. All the clubs you named there, I was like, blimey, I've been to a few now, but I am a loyal person. It's just geographically where I've been moving around the place, and then I've had to move clubs. But yeah, nice to get the starting clubs a bit of a shout out as well.
Absolutely, can't those are the ones that got you to where you are. So there's no point leaving them out.
Exactly.
We can also put down to the fact that I think you got into hockey by sheer chance. Was it a school team that needed a couple of extra numbers and you decided to give it a go from football?
Yeah, completely. I didn't really have any experience. To be honest with you, I probably didn't really know the sport at all. Born in South Wales, so hockey really isn't really the main sport, to say the least. You got rugby, and then if you're less than 5'10", then you're probably not playing rugby and you're playing football of some sort. And was pretty fortunate to be not a bad footballer, and just picked it up because the school team needed an extra player, and it was obviously very rare for the school team to have a hockey team anyway. Went to a state school, and just because of the PE teacher was a hockey player, Miss Biddle, and she was like, what about men's hockey or boys hockey at the time? And but yeah, I wouldn't say I played hockey for the first probably month and a half. I resembled probably playing football. I was kicking the ball around, and I was doing an absolute butcher job, but thoroughly enjoyed it. And here we are.
Absolutely. Again, I think I said it in the Aisha McFerrin episode. It's amazing that the amount of hockey players that have come from a school PE teacher coming and going, right, give this a go. It's brilliant to see.
No, completely. I think that's where probably the accessibility of it comes into it a bit more, just because of the cost associated to hockey sticks, shin pads. Yeah. It's not like you can just turn up, you got a few jumpers as goalposts, and you've got a football and you've got a game already. But with hockey, it's a bit more difficult. So I was very fortunate. The school actually had some hockey sticks, and my best mate at the time also played hockey. So I kind of got an easier way into it there. But as far as I'm aware, there's probably 4 state schools, and I genuinely say South Wales that played, and then the rest were the other schools that played hockey were private schools. So and I think you see that a lot also in England. The experience I've had in that is that if you go to a private school in England, you're probably more likely to pick up hockey than you will in a state school. And I think that's probably where it's a bit of a shame, really, because there's so many, especially with football, it's the transferable skills with spatial awareness, positional play. Footballers could be really, really good hockey players. And I think I wasn't a bad footballer, but it helped my transition over to hockey anyway. Obviously, I had to learn not to kick the ball, and I had to obviously rotate the stick a little bit. But positionally, it was quite an easy switch. And I think probably for participation levels, we probably need to tap into that footballer market even more.
Yeah, we're lucky over here that the our schools, we don't really have too many private schools, if any, really, between Northern Ireland and Ireland, so that everyone does sort of get introduced sort of to it. I think that's what leads quite well into the development of players coming through, then going into
Yeah.
clubs if then they like it and things like that. And I always find it a real shame that England, Wales, even Scotland don't have that. Oh, let's just give them a stick. The school buys a handful, make sure everyone has one, give it a go, and if someone's good and enjoys it, then they'll start the development process
Yeah.
for them almost.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I think it has to come down to cost and
Mm.
um, the current state in South Wales. My family still live there. My little brothers still go to state school there, and the the money associated to hockey and the hockey sticks. You probably need 30 hockey sticks, but that's 30 hockey sticks they have to buy over. They probably just
Yeah,
can buy 10 footballs that are a fraction of the price, or 10
yeah, that's
rugby
true.
balls. And then you have to have an AstroTurf. And I'll be honest with you,
Yeah,
there's not many AstroTurfs in South Wales. There's probably as many AstroTurfs in Wales as a school has rugby pitches, for example.
okay.
It's pretty staggering, and that's just because of the participation levels of rugby and football are so high, because of how easily accessible it is, that schools
Yeah,
would go down that avenue rather than spending, I don't know, finger in the air stat, 100, £200,000 on an AstroTurf, floodlights, infrastructure around it. And
yeah,
unfortunately, schools don't have that money. But if you're a private
yeah,
school, you probably have a greater chance of having those funds.
yeah,
But then you don't have that many private schools in South Wales either. It's not a privileged area or region in the whole at all. And kind of especially where I grew up, I was in Griffithstown, which is just outside the valleys, and
yeah,
it's a pretty harsh place at times, and it's very working class. So yeah, hockey I think needs to probably do better in getting those participation levels more. And I think the governing bodies have to tap into footballers, rugby players who probably don't who probably want to travel the world, like I've been fortunate enough to
yeah,
do, and the chance of them succeeding in rugby and football are much slimmer than hockey. So if you want to have those experiences, then what's a sport that potentially can give you those options and a higher possibility? Hockey is definitely one of them.
yeah. Absolutely agree. And then we've now got yourself as the shining beacon on what can be done. And I think if if it can be done, you've done it. You've been in that position where you've been able to go through it. So it's not this. Oh, sure. There's no role models
Yeah,
in that spot that have done it, and now there is. So I think if if any governing body can sort of use that as an example to do it, then Wales have that opportunity too. Certainly, in my opinion, from looking at it all.
yeah. It's difficult, right? Because um, it's obviously a bit about me, and I'm not a massive fan of speaking about myself. But all I kind of wanna do, and I thoroughly enjoy playing hockey. But for me, is if one kid from South Wales who was an ex rugby player, footballer, can can kick me out of the team in 5 to 10 years time, then I've probably done what I wanted to do in terms of kind of
Yeah,
inspire the next generation, and hope that it gives kids who are probably not blessed with a favorable financial situation a way out of that life, and can tour the world and experience things that I've been fortunate enough to experience myself. And yeah, you can write a book about the amount of things that have gone on, and it's comical at
yeah,
times, but yeah, I'm incredibly fortunate, and if someone else can share those experiences as well, then I've probably done my job right, I'd say.
yeah, yeah. I think you've done your job well to start off with. It can only get better. Let's put it that way. Speaking of places that you've traveled to, you are only a week back from your 3 weeks up in India at the Hockey India League, was it?
So I was back. I've been back 2 weeks now,
Oh,
and I
jeez.
actually spent it was 5.5 weeks. So
Oh, even better.
so I think when did I fly? I think I flew out on the 21st of December. Um, I had one of my friend's
Okay.
weddings, so I managed to kind of fly out a bit later than all the rest, and then flew back. I don't know, it was a bit of a blur. I want to say like the 29th of Jan or 28th of Jan. So
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was quite a meaty period of time, and it was an experience to say the least. For anyone who hasn't gone to India, then just go, because it's like you cannot compare that country to anything else that you've ever experienced in your life. Like it is
Hmm.
beyond.
Yeah. Did you get out into the towns and cities on your off days at all, or were you quite sort of in camp and
Yeah,
away from things?
the way it worked was it was based in the like in Rourkela, which is where the World Cup was.
Okay.
And where they did
Hmm.
is they built like, I wouldn't say it's a hotel. They call it the Mayfair Hotel, but it's but a compound is doing it a little bit too harsh. It's just like, uh,
Apartments.
yeah, apartments, similar to apartments, but they have rooms. Yeah, two people in a room, and but all of the teams apart from two of them, I believe, were all in this same hotel. So it
Right.
was
Okay.
really good because you could obviously see all the other players, and get to know, especially kind of the overseas players that have come over. They're in the same boat as you are, and some of them their club mates that I've played with for years, and some of them I've never actually spoken to outside of playing against them. So it
Yeah.
was really good as that experience. In terms of going out, Rourkela is quite a remote place. I believe it's in the north. You're testing my geography now.
Oh,
It's
yes.
where I think it's where Tata Steel are based, like that big
Okay.
office.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, like with respect, there's not much going on. There's a mall, and the mall is yeah, there's not much going on at all, to be honest with you. The highlight was it's got a what is it, a Pizza Hut, and
Oh,
yeah,
very nice.
so that was visited a few times, to say the least, and but that was about it. And that's probably the hardest bit about going over there, was the amount of free time you had, and there's only a certain
Yeah.
amount of books you can read or series you can watch until you get bored of being bored, and then it's just like,
Yes.
so we were playing card games, and I think everyone was getting a bit delirious by the end of it. It's just like, I just want to go home now. And then I was unfortunately caught quite bad deli belly. So which
Lovely.
is, yeah, and I'm not complaining, but I'm not a massive fan also of curry. So I was having curry literally 3 times a day, and then getting ill as well. So I got the proper Indian experience. Um,
You did.
but yeah, it was amazing. Like, yeah, it was great fun playing alongside people that you've played against for years and years, and I was fortunate enough to play with Manpreet, who is the Indian.
Mm.
He was the Indian captain. Is now Harmanpreet, but he was the Indian captain, and for the past
Yes.
8 years, I think him and I have like basically hated each other, because every time we play, it's really aggressive. There's a lot of things
Hmm.
said that I won't say on air, but and then the minute I got picked up at the auction, he sent me a message, and it was just like, "Hey, congrats on getting picked up for the auction. Thankfully, we're not going to have a fight anymore, and we're playing on the same team." And actually, when I saw him and like met him when I arrived at the hotel, that was one of the first things he said. So I would say him and I get on very, very well now, which is nice. And
Yeah.
that's probably what the most common thing is that you play against these players, and you have probably a judgment of them as a person by the way they act on a pitch, and in reality it's probably the complete opposite. So it was really nice to meet people that you've played against and probably think a few things about them, and then actually when you meet them, it's completely the opposite, and they're lovely people. And well, hopefully they say that about me. I don't know, but that's not me to say.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
And obviously, India is such a huge place for
Yeah.
hockey, and playing there, obviously, you have some experience with being the World Cup out there, and the crowds and the energy from all of that. Was it the same sort of thing? I know this was the revamp of the Hockey India League from a few seasons ago. Was there still that energy from playing? Certainly, any of the clips and things that I saw from it, it was still stadium still bouncing.
Yeah.
The crowds were still going.
Yeah, it was. I'd say that the World Cup was on a different level. I have never been part of a stadium or played in a game that is that noisy ever. Like, it was just bonkers. And then they say they have like a capacity in the stadium, but you see photos and like there's like basically people like in queues of 3 in the walkway. So it's an unknown how many people are watching, to be honest with you. And that was the walk of that. Yeah, that was just, I can't even describe how noisy that place was. Like, you probably couldn't even have a conversation over 5 yards. It was beyond. But then the Indian Hockey League, it wasn't as packed. I think just because it was going on for so long, really. It was like 4.5 weeks of games, and it was a game near enough every other day, and I just don't think it had the same attraction as, say, a World Cup, right? Which understandably so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still got a big following, and when we played in Ranchi, you could see on billboards and on the TV and stuff that it was getting advertised, etc. So yeah, it was amazing, and something which you don't really see. Even like, I'm based in Holland now, and you still don't see really that at all. So yeah, it was really cool. The hockey was absolutely chaotic. Like, you just have to embrace the chaos. Like, there is no point you even trying to put some structure into anything, because after the minute 5, it's just ping pong, and yeah, you just got to keep on going. You just got to play with it, and it's just like you basically chucking fuel on the fire until probably 5 minutes to go, and everyone's completely dead. And that's probably why the games are so high scoring, because probably the lack of defending, but also people were so tired.
Yeah, because that's the one thing I've always wondered, like how much in the build up to that were you going over, this is going to be our structure, this is how we're going to play, or that you did that, but like you said, 5 minutes into it's all out the window and we're just playing.
Yeah, it is like that, and the problem is that you've got a mix of cultures, a mix of languages. So in India, I actually, very naively didn't know how many languages people spoke in India. And so I know our team, the team I was in was okay. Everyone, I think, spoke Hindi, I want to say. And then there's another one called Punjabi.
Yeah.
Those
are the 2 main ones.
Yeah. So we just had those 2. But I know so Tom Salisbury's team, the Dragons, they had like 5 different languages or something stupid. So like meetings were like 2-3 hour long, because imagine we're having this conversation now, and then every time we're saying something, there has to be a translation for the Indian players, because
for one
and another, and then if they ask a question, then the translation has to translate that question and then to the other language, so it made meetings really quite difficult. And then ultimately, the team I played for played man to man. That is, the coach we had, Revs, who was my GB coach, that's kind of all he really believes in. And I think he backed us and probably picked people at the auction on the premise that he was going to play that way. I just remember this day, the first like training session I got there, we played like a 6v6 man on man, and a few of the Indian guys are just like, we're not playing man to man the whole game, are we? And like they are dying, like they're on their knees. And you know it's bad when even the internationals, so like Manpreet, Mandeep, Amir, Hundal, are all
Yeah.
also like kind of blowing and like so. Yeah, you can see why they were kind of a little bit. Oh my gosh, I can't be doing this. And yeah, to say the
Yeah.
least, it was very chaotic on the pitch. So I was spare man, um, like pressing, but the problem was
Yeah.
half the team couldn't speak English, so I'm trying to call stuff like call like we're gonna
Yeah.
go to tens or we're gonna drop off to half court or whatever, but they can't understand it. So
It went over everyone's
honestly, it
head. Yeah.
was like there was a moment we played Kalinga, I want to say, and yeah, Amir he had a guy on his right shoulder, and I've gone Amir, right shoulder, and then all I hear is the Payno, like Ollie Payne, the goalkeeper, saying to me, goes, Drapes, he
Yeah.
don't speak any English, and I'm just like, oh well, that's out the window then, isn't it? So, but yeah,
Brilliant.
it was an amazing experience and something that I definitely won't forget anytime soon.
Um, no, I don't think anyone could. Anyone, even from the previous iteration of it that I've spoken to, have just gone. It's something that's burned into my
Mm.
brain
Yeah,
and core memory for life. So it's good to experience what the new format
yeah,
was like from the likes of yourself. So it's good to see that it's still chaos and madness like everyone else has described it.
yeah, absolutely. There is no way it's anything but that.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. And like I said, you can see that from even the clips that are posted, and you're just going,
Mm.
there's, I don't think, what I think watching it, you wouldn't have been able to see the ball 9 times out of 10. It was just up and down
Well,
the whole way.
well, I struggled on the pitch, so I
Yeah.
don't know what the viewers were like. You just like, it's like this. Like,
It was a
oh my
tennis match in
gosh.
the end.
Oh yeah, yeah, literally.
I know you guys sort of ended up sort of seventh in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. What were the expectations going in? Was it, we want to finish top three? Obviously, the goal is to win it.
Mm.
Were you a bit disappointed coming away sort of seventh place and all that?
Um, it's a difficult one
Yeah.
because um, this might sound really bad. Like, I actually didn't go there to win. I
Yeah.
went there to just take the experience for what it was. If I won, brilliant. I was going to play every game to the best of my ability and try and win each game. But I never really had like I was never looking at the league table like we can do this or if
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
finish here we can. I never really did that. Firstly, because I wanted to take the whole experience in, enjoy it, and I just felt that if I was too concerned on the results and um, well, yeah, just how things may turn out or may not turn out, then I don't. I think it would probably taken away a little bit of the fun aspect of it rather
Yeah.
than, and it probably put a bit of unwanted pressure maybe. So yeah, obviously it's a bit disappointing you don't make the final four or you don't do those things or you don't win it. At the same time, it's a bit out of your control with the auction, so you just get
Mm.
picked up, and then all you're relying on then is the team picking up other players that complement you and complement everyone
How you
else.
play. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't think I'm out of turn in saying that the team who normally had the best Indians would win the tournament,
Fair
um,
enough.
I think that showed it because the Tigers they won it, yeah, they won it,
Yeah.
and they had easily their two Indian strikers, Abhishek and Sukhjeet, they were just a joke, and they had
Yeah.
then the flicker. So you've got essentially a triangle of Indians there, then mixed in with three Belgians, um, a good goalie with Carr,
Yes, the Irish
um,
keeper.
yes, and Tim Cross. the left
Yeah,
back. So
that's
you've
it's not
got
bad. That
so you've got like a really good international base, but
yeah,
then your Indians as well are so good that you have no. So part of the rule was I think you could only have 5 internationals on the pitch at the same time. I
same
think it
time.
was. Um, so the Indians obviously went for more money because they were more valuable because there was no
Yeah,
constraint on them. And yeah, they had probably the better Indians, and yeah, they won. But then you can see that. So then you had that approach, and then but then you had also kind of the two fans approach that, or Kalinga that went actually more less. I'd say lesser Indian players, I'd say, but then more overseas internationals. Like
yeah,
Kalinga at the start of the tournament, I was like, these guys are gonna run away with the league. Like they had a joke. They had Van Doren, Brinkman, Keener, Hendricks, uh, Banders, Toby in goal, and I'm missing someone quite big. And Gonzalez, the Spanish.
okay, yeah,
So they had like a ridiculous team, and then they don't even make the playoffs. They come sixth, or yeah,
yeah.
I think it's sixth or fifth.
I think they
Fifth.
were. Yeah,
So it just kind of backed up what our team had a bit of a thought on. It's just like you got to pick good Indians because they have no constraint over
yeah.
what they
They can
can
just
do.
play.
Exactly. So yeah, it was interesting. So kind of looping back to the question, I wasn't really too bothered about
Yeah,
not going in, and really quite selfishly, after spewing and pooing myself for 4.5 weeks, I was actually looking forward to getting home. So it meant that yeah, after 5 weeks there, I was like, when we didn't make playoffs, I was like, right, get me home now.
yeah,
I need some home comforts.
yeah. And I don't see anything wrong with that mentality, especially good. That was your that's your first sort of foray into franchise hockey.
Hmm.
So why would you not just go there and go, I'm taking every moment of
Exactly. Yeah.
this for experience, gameplay. I'm playing with people that I'm potentially never going to play with again. And yeah, like I don't see any issue with going in with that mentality. Uh, and yeah, you get the experience from it all.
Yeah. Um. So I if I do it again, then maybe I'll take it a bit more seriously. But like probably reflecting on it a bit more is that I'm happy the way I viewed it, and got as much as I wanted to get out of it. And yeah, if I do go again, I'll have to take some food rations, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, loads of cup of soups and pot noodles.
Exactly. Yeah, some pot noodles, some bovril, and yeah, some porridge.
Yeah, uh, fuel of champions. Um,
Yeah.
and then were you? I'm assuming because of obviously the social being, you were the coffee guy over there then.
Well, ish. So
Oh, okay.
um I brought a V60, which is like a filter coffee.
Okay.
But actually, Lee Morton, who's in the same team as I did, brought his
Mm.
machine over. He's got a like a professional machine. So
Wow.
he was barista for the trip, and oh boy, he delivered. Like it was amazing. Like to be honest with you as well, he was really like protective over his machine, so he let nobody touch it really. And you had to bring beans, and he was like, "Yeah, just let me know if you want a flat white or whenever you want a coffee." And I think he made the biggest mistake ever by saying that at the start, because then everyone was just whatever time of the day, oh, Lee, can I have a coffee? And he's like,
Oh no.
yeah, yeah. But then he made it. He always made them. So like you're feeling quite bad for him. You're like, "Yeah, I can do it. It's fine." He goes, no, no, I'll do it. And then you're like, right, okay, it's yours. I'll let you do it. And then he was pulling out hearts,
Oh
tulips, you
wow.
name it. Yeah, it was pretty professional. I spoke to Gooders, like my partner, like for the social bean, and I said to
Mm.
him, I said, we need to get him in. Need to hire him when he's finished hockey, because he's
Uh,
bloody good.
yeah. Um. Obviously, I'll talk a bit about that later on. Take up is big part of the hockey culture. Um. Certainly from when I was speaking to Giselle Ansley at the very start, she was saying that coffee and those bits in between training. Certainly in
Mm.
international training and the likes of the GB setup, those
Yeah.
bits in between. It was right. We'll get our coffee and we'll all settle down. She obviously does then the tray bakes for you guys then as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, to be honest with you, it's probably not anymore, but I'd say for about a
Right.
4 year period, it was probably my biggest expense. Like
Right.
that, like without a shadow of a doubt, it was like buying coffee, going out for coffee was just ridiculous. I was going through like, I'm maybe quite a bad example because of hockey in a younger age, I had to, and revisions, university, etc.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of time during the day to revise, so I had to like revise in the evening when I got back from training, and it would do a lot of all nighters, which then meant
Yeah.
that I was on the coffee a lot from a quite a young age, which then meant that like at 21, 22, I was drinking like 8 cups a day, and it was and like even now I drink, yeah, I've had 5 today and I'm quite tired, so
Yeah.
it's quite bad. But I was spending maybe 18, 19 pound a day on coffees. It was ridiculous. So yeah, it's a big thing in I would like to say most sports, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about football so much, but I know in rugby and hockey, I know it's huge, and I think it's partly social
Yeah.
aspect of it, but also, yeah, when it's November, December, 4 o'clock, it's getting dark, and you've got another
Yeah.
pitch session or you've got a gym session, um, you need a coffee to get into it, otherwise it's going to be a really really rough evening.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
I agree.
so
So
yeah, I'd also say it's about university. Like a lot of the guys go to universities, and they're probably, yeah, probably as busy as I was at university, and
yeah.
needed the coffee to kind of get through university studies and manage to get out. So there's probably a high tolerance on that aspect as well.
Yeah, I would say so. So like yeah, you're swapping spending all that money on coffee and spending it on coffee but to give to other people now.
Oh gosh, it's a vacuum at the moment. I'll tell you that. Spending money on a trailer and a Land Rover Defender with machines and it's like a gulf of money. But it's
Yeah.
enjoyable. Yeah, I've got a huge passion in coffee, and with the goal that there's Goodfield, as I mentioned, and there's Phil Roper and Chris Griffiths.
Yeah.
Um, so as a sorry, tell a lie as well. There's Nick Roper also. So it's Phil's partner.
Mhm.
So there's kind of 5 of us who do it and manage the 2 machines. I can't take much credit for being on the ground. I'm pretty woeful at latte art, to say the least. I've turned to a double espresso man, and that's just
Okay.
out of sheer embarrassment of trying to, yeah, get some latte art. I just like, nah, I'll bin it off. So yeah, it's amazing, and I think the goal is in a few years when we all have a bit more free time, is to get a shop and maybe turn that into a bar and have a coffee bar kind of arrangement. But who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. As that I know were you at the last pro league event did you go to and set up? Is that
Yeah,
something you
yeah,
just keep doing? Just keep going to hockey events, and then if a store materializes, will you go down the route of we'll put it in a hockey
exactly.
club, or keep
Yeah,
away from all of that?
I think there's definitely like a benefit of being kind of remote and having a
Mhm.
defender and a trailer as well to go to these events. And to be honest with you, we would rather go to hockey events than any other event.
Yeah,
That's where like anyone can get a very good flat white in London. I'm not gonna even try and convince anyone that my flat white or the company's flat white is better than someone else's flat white, because normally no one can tell the difference. But
yeah,
what makes it a bit different is that you're supporting athletes that are trying to further their career post hockey or
mhm,
post something. And um, I'd like to think that people have done that and people have supported and been really really good with us. giving us opportunities and trusting us. And I'm not going to say it's been a smooth ride, because it hasn't. There's been a lot of mishaps, a lot of power cuts, battery failures, machines leaking. Like it's been a rough ride, but it kind of makes those peaks even more special. So yeah, I think as a whole, those we did it as a thing outside of hockey, but we're all
Yeah.
hockey players, and that's why we were really focused when we try to do like the bakes and the cakes and all of those different things. Like we had an option. I can say it. We had options to go cheaper places to get our brownies, but we actually went to Giselle, who is an unbelievable baker, and she is
Yeah.
ridiculous. I actually don't know how Mr. David Ames is so ripped and skinny, because oh my god, I'd be eating the brownies all day, and you'd be
Yeah. It's
rolling me out.
when I was chatting there at she was on our first episode of doing this, and when I was chatting there, she and obviously Amesy's from this neck of
Yeah,
the woods, so I had a good chat with him. Went like, what's happening here? He says no, he doesn't touch it, which is just ridiculous. But now with retirement, I think that's going to change.
yeah. Next
He's
time you
gonna have
see
to
him, he
fall
might,
into
he might be rolling himself in, but I really doubt it. Actually, to be honest with you, he's
yeah.
but yeah, that's kind of like going back to it. That's kind of what
Mhm.
our unique selling point is we're hockey players, and we want to help out other hockey players, um and so we wanted to help her out and support her. So she then
Yeah,
made the bakes for us, and we're not making as much money, but ultimately we're here to try and maybe promote business
support nobody.
outside of sport, and try and grow the business outside sport as well a bit more.
Yeah,
So yeah, and then the people we have working for us are also hockey players that might be students, or might be in between work, or might also work and just want to serve coffee. So it is a
yeah,
full on hockey company, and I think that's pretty special, to be honest.
yeah. That's pretty amazing. So it is. And it again, I think everyone gets caught up on the fact that it's hockey's the hobby, and then we'll do something else with it. But if you're passionate about something like hockey, you
Mhm.
may as well bring that into
Exactly.
a bit like that, and use it to help out hockey and hockey players.
Yeah. No. No. Exactly. And we're all in the well. Giselle was in the same situation we were in. We were hockey players, and we probably didn't really know what we were going to do after hockey, with a few of us. And I think if you love what you do, then you don't work a day in your life if you love it. And if I can get paid to drink coffee and do the occasional spreadsheet for the bank accounts, then I think I'm not working. But who knows? But yeah, ultimately, I think people have just got to. Yeah, the goal is to just follow what you're really passionate about and you love, and then it's not work really. It's a hobby
Yeah,
that brings in some money. So that's what I'd probably advocate and encourage more people to do it. And I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's not been easy, but it's definitely very rewarding.
yeah. And then what's that like? Trying to obviously you've got that, and that's solely based in back in the UK, but you're obviously now in Amsterdam with Pinoke.
Yeah.
Uh, 5 year contract, and did you
No.
sign with them?
So how long have I been here now? I think I've got no. So yeah, I had a 2+3. So it is
Ah,
like a
right.
5 year. It gave me a break clause after this year, so I'm currently, yeah, I can say I'm currently kind of speaking to the club at the moment about extending and trying to get something,
Okay,
yeah, trying to get pen to paper. But the problem is, um, the motivation is LA, and ultimately I
of
need to I
course.
need to prioritize GB hockey, and as of the 24th of Feb, I still am unaware of the head coach. If he or she has
Yes.
been confirmed, I don't know. So once that appointment is done, then I can have probably a conversation with them, and get an idea of an idea of what they want, because what I don't want to do is say sign a deal with Pinoke, and then comes August and they're like, you need to come back now, you need to play back in England. So I don't think
Yes.
that'll happen, but again, it's too big of a risk for me to do that yet. So yeah, I'm not even lying. I actually don't know who. I don't know who's
Yeah.
gone for it. I don't know what's happening, to be honest. And then once we know, probably the public will know very soon after that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of the idea. Yeah, I don't want to probably leave Holland just yet. I think um, there's still a lot that this place offers me. It's just it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing to live. And then hockey is on a different level. So, and I think selfishly for my development, I think if I'm gonna hopefully be up for selection for LA, then I need to be in the best place physically and mentally that I can be in, and at the moment that's here. I'm not going to say that's here
Yeah.
in 2 years' time, because I don't know, but for the time being, it is. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
And
again,
and why would you not? I mean, it's the Hoofd class. It's the top league. Personally, I think in the world. And yeah, you're getting unreal hockey. You're in the EHL. Obviously, you won it last year, which is even better. Um, so hopefully, whoever whoever gets a job realizes that, because there's so many of the GB players, both male and female,
mm,
playing abroad. So it will be quite a lot to uproot quite a few of them and bring them all
yeah,
back.
yeah. I think if I'll be honest, I don't think they will do it.
Yeah,
I think yeah, Revs and Revs opened the door to players playing abroad, and once you kind of
yeah,
open that door and people have gone through it, it's quite hard then to go back on it. But
yeah,
ultimately, I'm not governed. Well, I am governed a little bit by GB Hockey, so I kind of need to listen to them and trust what they do is right. So whatever they deem is right, then I'll follow that. But
yeah,
I would say that the amount of players now playing in Holland, especially on the male side, is quite a lot. For the
yeah,
for the context of actually
yeah,
in the Tokyo cycle, no one was allowed to play at all abroad, so everyone had to be in England. So
hmm
you go from 0 to 7, 7 or 8, and then if you go to 8 um, or 7 players who played in Paris out of the 16, then it's actually quite a big
yeah.
proportion of people then.
It is. Yeah,
So yeah, again, I don't know, but that will then dictate what I do with my contract over here. But as of 24th of Feb, I'm still loving it, and yeah, I don't want to go back just yet, but who knows?
yeah. And how's the league been going? How's it been going so far this year? Anyway.
Yeah, it's been difficult. It's
hmm
not what we experienced last year. We had quite a bit of success last year, and then this year, due to probably six key players leaving, and Pinoke deciding to go with youth over experience, has now meant that we've got quite an inexperienced team, and
hmm
technically still brilliant, tactically still brilliant, but uh, yeah, you've swapped Alex Hendricks for Tim Napper, who is 18. So you can't buy that experience. You just have to wait. And Pinoke got success over the last 3-4 years doing that, and because
hmm
a bit of brief history, they were in relegation battles for years, and like maybe 10 years ago, for example, then trusted a crop of youngsters, and then that crop of youngsters has then still part of the club now, and they're big
Yeah,
parts of the club, and that's why the club are successful, and that's the mold that the club operate in with that, and then they add a few overseas guys in. But um, yeah, it's been difficult. We're sitting, I
Yeah.
believe, sixth. I think it was sixth. We
Yeah, I think when I was having a look, it was about mid
Yeah,
table. So
I think it's sixth. To be honest with you, I've not looked since November. I've too annoyed after the
yeah,
end, but um, we're still very much in the mix. And actually, we had this conversation yesterday with a few of the guys. Is the year they won the league, they were in seventh
hmm
this at this time a few years ago,
okay,
and then went on like this 8-9 game winning spree, and then made playoffs, and then won the league. So um, the league is definitely not over, but at the same time,
yeah,
I'm fully aware of the position we're in, and probably the lack of experience we do have, and that's probably the biggest thing. But that means that the players that do have experience, and yeah, a few of us have got to take a bit more accountability and responsibility for it, and it's a new skill that I've got to develop, and
yeah,
yeah, I'm just kind of trying to embrace it, and obviously getting it wrong on the odd occasion, but without a few mistakes, you're never going to learn. So yeah, that's about it,
yeah,
really.
yeah. And so, because that's I was gonna ask, what's it like now being considered then, the experienced player? I'm sure that wasn't
Uh,
probably something you thought you were gonna be just
yeah.
yet.
To be honest with you, I'm still a bit of a child at heart. I'm probably
Yeah, good.
yeah, I would say I'm not the most I'm mature when I need to be mature, but actually I have a laugh and a joke, and yeah, I'd say I'm pretty approachable for the youngsters that come up, like in terms of like coming up to the first team, like the 18, 19-year-olds who
Yeah,
are really nervous, and I'm just there, and they take the piss out of me, I take the piss out of them, and it's actually quite nice that you like I can be like that.
hmm
But yeah, definitely uh, I didn't think I would be here, and to be honest with you, I'm not trying to think too much about it. I'm just trying to be me.
yeah,
I don't want to be somebody. I don't want to force anything that's not myself. Kind of what you see is what you get, and rather than probably lead by saying I go to the gym 10 times a week and run all these things, I'd probably just lead by just doing stuff and showing an example, and then hopefully they follow.
yeah,
And if they need anything, they can come and speak to me, have a coffee, or on the occasion have a Guinness, and there we go.
yeah. That's what most experienced players are. So you're doing well.
I don't know. We'll see. I've had some really good leaders who've been amazing for me. Like Adam Dixon. He is
Yeah,
he is like the biggest child you'll ever meet. And he was like our captain at Tokyo. Watched him when I was younger playing, and you think he's this mature guy, but actually, I'm gonna rat him out now. But plays Call of Duty on Xbox, and he's got his own little gaming setup, and then also Amesy. Amesy's like a bit of a
yeah,
child, and he's the biggest prankster ever. So, but then they know where the line is, and they know when it's get business time. It's business time. So, um, that's probably one thing I'm definitely taking from Amesy and Dixie, to be honest with you.
good, good. And obviously, then to play in the level that you are, you obviously need to play with some top quality gear. So you're obviously playing with Shrey. This is your third season with
Second,
them.
yeah, second, yeah.
Second, yeah. Um, so obviously they're how you find and using them. What's your experience been like with them so far?
Yeah, it's been really good. I would say that I'm a pretty fussy thing when it comes to my stick. Like in terms of, um, I'm really particular about the weight and the balance point, and you can probably speak to
Okay.
Matt at Shrey about that. I'm very particular about it, and when it's a couple of millimeters off, I'm not best pleased. But yeah, the guys are brilliant. They've yeah, the stick I have is lovely, and it's to what I would like it to be. Also, because they own the factory and they have that whole supply chain already set up because they're huge in cricket, then
In cricket,
it,
yeah.
it means that anything I want in terms of specification or even like timing, like I could probably call them up
Yeah.
now, get a stick by a week and a bit's time, and that's coming from India. Like it's pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
Unfortunately enough, I've never had to do it because the sticks don't break. They're
Yeah.
really and I play with a soft stick, so I play with like a
Okay.
60% carbon. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, I play with the Phantom, but 60% carbon because
Hmm.
I've never played with anything, or I have tried with stuff with more carbon in it, but for me, I don't hit the ball ever, so I don't need the power. I would like the feeling a bit more and a bit softer. So that's why I got
Hmm.
6%, and it's been working for me. And um, it's quite actually quite rare that those sticks don't break into because they're so soft.
Yeah.
So um, yeah, I probably can't say, but my previous sponsor, yeah, it was in Argentina, and I was in the warm up, and I've hit the ball, and the handle has just like snapped. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you are joking. It's in the warm up, and I'm really like picky about like the stick I use and stuff. So my head is fried. I cannot even imagine. So I've then just picked up the exact same one, but it's got a different grip. So I've like taped it up, so it's all good. And then it's broken again. So I snapped 3 sticks in a game, and
Oh no.
yeah, I took out 3 sticks. So I was
That
playing
was it.
with, I think I had to borrow someone's grades or something because I was like, I haven't got another stick, and I had to play with, yeah,
I've got
I'd like,
nothing.
I picked up someone's second stick and it was a 36 and a half, and I played with 37 and a half, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. But that was big
Oh
for
no.
me, and is to not have that situation again, especially when you're playing in.
Yeah.
Thankfully, that was a pro league game, but if that was an Olympics or a World Cup or Europeans, it's something that
Yeah.
it's not ideal in the slightest. So yeah, I thankfully it's not happened, and I've played in every weather, I'd say, in every continent with a Shrey, I think, bar Australia. So
Yeah.
played in Asia, um, obviously in Europe, and I don't know if I've played in. No, I've done New Zealand, Australia. So yeah, I've played in most of them with them. So in
Okay.
any weather condition, and it's held up really well. And I love the design of them. Um, I had special ones done for the Olympics, which was pretty lovely. And
I
yeah,
saw them.
it's
Yeah.
really really nice. And worked with like Thomas Keller, who I see used to be with TK, and then has come over, and
Yeah.
he's been brilliant, and we designed a stick that would look really good and within the guidelines. And I don't know if you're aware the amount of guidelines to design a stick for like an Olympic one. It's
Scary.
ridiculous. Like you cannot have any even hint of an Olympic association to it. The city you can't even have. It's
No.
like we were thinking about having like the Eiffel
No.
Tower on like the head of the stick, like a picture, and you just can't do
Yeah.
it. You can't have anything. The only
No.
one I think got away with it, and I think they just about got away with it, was Y1. Um,
Yeah, because of how the design is
so so
on
they
the
have to
edge.
have
If
you
you're
have to have
looking at
two
it, so
sticks, I believe. You have to have 2 sticks for it to look. So they have like
yes.
half an Eiffel Tower here, and then half the Eiffel Tower is there. So if you connect them together, it looks like an Eiffel Tower. But
Yeah.
they were the only ones. But for Shrey, it was yeah, we managed to do something, yeah, pretty special, and it was lovely. And now currently trying to get my hands on the new range, which hasn't come yet, but soon to be. So yeah, excited about that,
Yes.
and hopefully nothing's changed too drastically. Otherwise, I think I'll have a head loss. But yeah, all good. But yeah, they're really good. They're really good people. They're really passionate, and that's probably all you want
Yeah.
from a hockey brand, is that they look after the athlete. The athlete comes, or the hockey stick comes first, and if you design a good hockey stick, then normally you do really well in yeah in the market. I think there's a reason why Greys have been around for so long, is because they've been good sticks for so long.
Yes. I totally agree. And we've seen it. Obviously it's a new brand, so it's building the momentum through it certainly
Yeah.
here. But anyone that we've given them to's just a bit like you, just really really like them. Really interesting to hear that you play with a 60% stick.
Yeah.
Because there's this sort of culture building certainly here, and I would say probably over on the mainland, England, Scotland, Wales as
Yeah.
well, where everyone seems to want full carbon. Everything has to
Yeah.
be almost maxed out, and we're we're almost having fights with kids going, actually, no, you don't need that. And I now have an example I can use and go,
Honestly, I would say, from my experience, 90% of the internationals I've played with
yeah,
don't play with anything above an 80.
yeah,
Like
that's what
really.
we think.
No, like really. Like
Yeah,
I would say I think if Billy Backer played with a 40%,
yeah,
and I think that's a bit too low. That's like playing with an
that's
indoor stick.
yeah,
But I would say the most common is 60, 70. In between 60 and 80 is like
yeah,
the most common range. I just, for me, I just don't see the benefit, especially for a youngster
yeah,
going up. Why you need 100% carbon? If
yeah.
you want one, then yeah, it's not
Yeah,
my money you're
okay.
spending, but like
Yeah,
you can get one. But for me, it makes the first touch much harder.
mhm.
Um, you're not going to hit a ball that much harder.
No,
And you're probably going to spend about 150 quid more than normal. I
absolutely.
think that's my assessment anyway of it.
You're
Um,
you're pretty spot on. Like we're we always tend to go that sweet spot of probably 70 is where we try
mm,
to get as most people to it, because
yeah,
like you said earlier, like how many times in a match are you actually standing up and hitting the ball?
yeah,
You don't actually do it that much. It's all slapping and pushing and things like that. So yeah, I've got another example I can use to tell people to wise up. Go, GB superstar Jacob Draper doesn't play
yeah.
with that, so you don't need to.
Yeah, I actually in the GB team, I don't think anyone plays 100%, and I
There
might
we go.
be completely wrong about that, but I'm pretty damn sure no one does.
Yeah, and it would be silly to, being honest.
Yeah, but hey ho.
So what I know, hey, that's other people's judgment to make.
Mm.
What is your stick model and sort of setup of hockey stick? What do you like in your stick that
Yeah,
you're so
so
particular?
to both, yeah, I've got one here. So I have I don't know if you can see that. It's like
Yes.
this is the Shrey. It's a Shrey Phantom. Um, yeah, this one is a late bow. Um, yeah, late bow. This is 70% carbon, I believe. So a bit more than I'm used to. But actually, I did it for India. So I took it to India
Okay.
because in warmer climates, sticks get bendier.
Mm.
And like you need a bit more carbon in a stick, or in a warmer like yeah warmer climate. So that meant that I took a 70 out just in case, but I didn't use the 70. I used the 60.
Yeah.
Um, then I got a 515. I don't got any
Okay.
lighter. I don't got any lighter than 510, but I don't got any heavier than 515. 515 is
That is
like that's the max I go to,
that's still a light
and
stick.
yeah, and then my balance is 41 to
Okay.
42. So I have no weight really on the head of the stick. It's all on the top.
Okay.
Uh, and it's a very very light stick. And as I said, I don't feel like I need a heavy stick. I get called every name under the sun over here in Holland because they all play with like sledgehammer, like genuinely
Yeah.
sledgehammer. Their sticks are so heavy over here that it's pretty ridiculous. And they're like, yeah, they're all 39 and a halves or something, and I play with a 37,
Yeah.
and I've only just switched to a 37. So I was used to be a 36, and then I
Yeah.
moved to 37. But they pick up my stick, and their indoor sticks are heavier than my outdoor sticks. Some of them, and I was like,
Oh,
how does that even work?
I
But
know.
yeah, apparently so.
That's because they're all 9 foot tall and
Yeah,
all arms and legs.
yeah, not like a 5'9" Welshman who plays a 36 and a half. But yeah, but yeah, that's kind of that's the setup. I have the Phantom has a thicker head, so yeah, it's not a thin head at all, and that's just because the experience I have, especially in the UK at Bisham and where we train for GB, is that the pitch is really thick.
Yeah.
So if I have a thin stick, it gets stuck in the pitch a lot.
Okay.
While if I have a heavier one, no heavier, sorry, a thicker one, it just kind of glides over. And then if it still gets stuck, you can then put paint on the bottom of it like a varnish, and then
Yeah.
it goes over the pitch. It doesn't get caught in the pitch at all. So kind of a little bit of a trick if you've got a thin stick and it keeps on getting stuck in, then you just put some varnish on it and it'll just go over.
Oh, cool. That's definitely a top tip for everyone then. You're going to see all these hockey clubs now with varnished tins by the side of
Yeah, yeah,
hockey pitches.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't advocate for this, by the way. I'm taking no responsibility for any broken pitches or some sort. But yeah, that's the setup. I have a Lobo. Um, not like an ultra low bow, but yeah, it's low. Just because of aerials now.
Hmm.
It's probably, if I was gonna like list probably my strength, that's probably one of them.
Yeah.
And 3D skills and stuff. So I kind of need that, and it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Played against some people with some seriously straight sticks, like they've cut down a tree, like
Yes.
like straight as like an arrow,
Yeah.
and I just have no idea how they play with it. I think you had him on actually, Jonas de Hoos.
Yeah. That response stick from Ritual, it's
It's
like that.
it's
There's no.
yeah, and a few of the guys at Pinoke have the same, and yeah, and then Mandeep Singh for India, who's got
Yeah.
ridiculous amounts of goals. That stick actually hasn't got a bend in it. Like it lies at straight as an arrow, and
Oh
it's
no.
got like the head of it is like a hammer. It's beyond
Old
like
school hockey stick then.
it's proper old school, heavy, but no bow whatsoever. Like nothing. Like imagine the ritual response stick, and then like that's probably got a bigger bow, like a big bow if you compare it to
Oh
Mandeep's.
really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Right. Okay. So yeah, that is an old school, big, thick
Yeah,
head, hit the ball a million miles an hour.
exactly.
Um, you can see why he scores all the goals.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think sticks wise, I think it's everyone has their own preference.
Yeah.
And for me, I've had the same setup since I was 19, 20. So I don't change it. And it's kind
Yeah.
of worked so far, so I'm not gonna go radically different. But again, if anyone likes their stick, then just then why would you change the weight, or why would you change the balance
Exactly.
point? Yeah, um, yeah. I would say to check out Shrey though, because they are new. They are fresh on the block a little bit, and but
Hmm.
they do have a serious person in R&D behind it. And he ran TK for years
Exactly.
and years and years, and has a lot of experience in that department. And yeah, I think I'm maybe a bit biased, but he's brought me he's brought me a good one, so I'm not going to change.
Yeah.
So it just it works perfectly for me. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. And like the it's amazing. You appeared on the scene with it all, and all of a sudden this bump of Shrey sticks appeared because everyone went, oh, he's using it, so we can. It always takes one person for certainly for hockey sticks here, to go. It's almost just that trust element of all right, if he or she's using it
Mm.
and they're playing at the top level, then we can. And yeah, the crowds are following you, going over to the sticks, and
And
They're
to be honest with you, I think get yourselves down to your shop and just try what you like, and um and just pick. Don't pick on the brand, and just pick on your own preference. That would be my biggest take on it, is that don't look at
yeah,
this Greys, because Greys have been around for so long that I'm just going to prefer Greys, but look at all of them, and then kind of like blindfold test them a little bit and be like, I like this
yeah,
one, I like this bow, I like this weight, I like this balance point. And once you've settled on one, then it kind of helps your job then from then on, because you
yeah,
probably don't want to move from then, like in terms of you've got your preference. So then you
yeah,
save yourself probably a heap of money, a load of time, if you just go down the shop for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and take up your afternoon. But then, like, it doesn't, you save yourself so much time then in the future, I'd say,
yeah.
and money.
Yeah, because you know what you like, and
Yeah.
you can just keep getting that. It's you'd do well in here, to be honest. Are you sure that this coffee thing's gonna work out? Do you see yourself
Hey, do you need a
needing
coffee
something
shop
else?
in that? Yeah, get yourself down, try some hockey sticks, but also a flat white. Yeah.
Yeah, look, we can put a coffee machine in the corner.
Yeah. Oh, but
Um,
that would be the biggest thing I'd say
yeah,
for anyone going to hockey stick is don't look at the brand, don't look at the price tag. Like, and I know
mm,
that actually might be even more dangerous, but the chances are you're probably going to pick something up that's not even the most expensive. Like, the chances are you're probably going to pick something up mid range.
absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think if more people can get trying a stick, they'll all be
Yeah.
surprised on it. Going back to the sport that you need to play with your fantastic hockey stick, um, what was it like being that first Welsh team in a World Cup?
Yeah, it was well, yeah, it was an experience. It was something that was a immensely proud moment. To be honest with you, I'm a very, very loyal Welshman, very patriotic, and nothing probably makes me more emotional than kind of singing the anthem.
Yeah,
Especially when you're singing the anthem against, even England, France,
yeah,
like these teams that you have such a big rivalry with.
hmm
So yeah, it was an amazing experience, and something which hopefully we can do again. Playing India in India, and nearly winning was something that I remember to this day. It was just, whew,
yeah,
it was a phenomenal experience. I think with Wales, because of the financial situation, so I'm not too sure if people are aware that Wales's budget is probably what I'd say maybe a tenth, if not a 20th of the top 15 other sports budgets.
yeah,
I think I want to say our budget is like 40K a year to
yeah,
manage to do a program, and each player has to give £2,500 a year to, your sponsor can do that, or you do it, or family members, or whatever,
yeah,
to be able to represent Wales. And it means that when you go on these trips, it's a bit more special, because you have to take everything
yeah,
in. Because yeah, I'm fortunate enough to be professional, but 99% of the other guys aren't professional. So they're there. Like,
yeah,
you've got Rodri, who's a doctor. You've got uh, Ben, who's an oil trader, for Chevron. Like, you've got so many different people who are
yeah,
giving up free time, leave, time away that they can't then get back with their partners, their families, whatever situation. So it means that
yeah,
the bond that we've got is actually pretty special.
hmm
Helped by the fact that we've had the same group for 9 years or something stupid. It's
yeah,
ridiculous. And I think that's probably one of the challenges that's going to happen Welsh hockey now, from now to the next 4 years. I'd say is that we need to probably get more guys with caps.
yeah,
And how we do that is going to be difficult, because they need to essentially push someone out of their position, which is never a nice thing to say or do. And
Yeah.
but it's the nature of top level sport. And I was fortunate. I got a cap at 16, I think it was, and went on from there really. But I think,
Yeah.
yeah, as a 26-year-old now, I'm looking at first cappers at 24, 23, 24, and that's still very young.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I compare that to the generation that I'm currently playing in, you've got Ben Francis, Dan Kirkhides, Dale Hutchinson, Johan Wall, Rodri Furlong, Gareth Furlong, all having probably 60 caps or 50 caps by 23.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a baptism of fire when you're a 23, 24-year-old going to your first cap, and you're now not playing in a C division. You're playing against Germany or Holland or England, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be
Yeah.
like the biggest challenge, I'd say, is that. But kind of looping back to that World Cup with Wales, it was yeah, it was amazing. Like, yeah, really, really, really good experience.
Does the likes of the Commonwealth Games, those tournaments, help you sort of prepare for that? So it wasn't just,
Yeah.
you weren't going into this big tournament completely blind. You already have big tournament experience, sort of, in a way.
No, yeah. It is a shame that's not on anymore. And probably
Yeah.
never gonna go on again. But yeah, I think, yeah, the Gold Coast Commonwealth was amazing for me because it kind of gave me the
Hmm.
first taste of a multi-sport event, or competition first off, but also playing in front of crowds that are not 1,000, 2,000 people. They're tens of thousands of people. And I remember,
Yeah.
like, kind of to this day, I think I was, oh, how old was I? Maybe 19. Uh,
Hmm.
and we've got our first game against Pakistan, and um, obviously I'm still relatively not new to the team, but still very inexperienced. And yeah, a few of the guys went to Glasgow and stuff, so I was a bit like one of the one of the new guys. And I rang my mum on the toilet, like nervous as anything. It was like we've like 45 minutes before the game. I'm on the toilet ringing my mum, like, I can't do this. I'm too nervous. Da 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 da. And my mum's a very loud Scouse woman, and she, yeah, how do I say this? I'm going to say this politely. She told me to grow up, and she said,
Nice.
"Stop being a wuss," but in much harsher English, should we say? Um,
Fair enough.
and I went from being on the toilet nervous to then being quite angry with my mum, and then went out and played Pakistan. But yeah, it was brilliant, and kind of gave me the experience, definitely, then to go on and
Mhm.
play game after game at Gold Coast, but then to play at Europeans. And then yeah, Tokyo was when 3 years late from that.
Yeah.
So all of these
Yes.
different things, they kind of make you a little bit, and mold you into the person and the player you
Yeah.
are. And I think you just got to have those early experiences and jump, essentially, and just have a bit of leap of faith. And what's the worst case scenario? You don't play so well, like the world isn't ending.
Yeah. So then, obviously, Tokyo was then with GB, Paris then also with GB. Those obviously both been Olympic Games, two very different Olympic
Yeah,
Games. You also had Tokyo, where you were made COVID. Everything was, it was a very simplistic way of looking at all the sports. It was just the
yeah,
sport, no crowd, almost like how the sport, hockey especially, is almost played how those Olympics were in general. There was only a handful of people, staff in the
yeah,
crowd watching the match. It's occasionally what hockey matches are like on a normal day to day. So, and then obviously you had Paris, which when the French were playing, the place was bouncing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Tokyo was really weird because you had these stadiums, as you
Hmm.
said, and there was no one in them, so it was like really echoey. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
Um, and then you had that fear of catching COVID. and then you're out of the tournament. And then what you didn't want to do is go to, like, I didn't want to get picked for my first Olympics and then not actually be able to go because of COVID. And you never knew who had it, so you were like always scared about even interacting with people.
Yeah.
And then yeah, comparing that to Paris, it was just a different ball game completely. Even the village was different in terms of people were chilled out, and you could actually recognize a few more people because they didn't have a mask and a big like hoodie on.
Yes.
And then the games were just crazy. I'm actually glad we played France, because it was an experience to say the least.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got many fans in France after that game, but yeah, I think yeah, I think it was an amazing experience to play France in France at at the Olympics. But you still have, looking back on the two experiences, that were kind of what if moment, what could have
Yeah.
happened, yeah, how we went out in both quarters, like very well identical results, in
Mhm.
terms of yeah coming out of the quarters to India, but two completely
Yeah.
different situations, scenarios, and actual feeling on it as well. Tokyo, I wrong, probably yeah. Looking back, wrongfully went into Tokyo. Like, just I'm just going to take everything in and experience. It's my first Olympics. I've always wanted to go to the Olympics, and then Paris. Like, I wanted to experience it, but ultimately I was there to hopefully be part of a team that won a medal,
Yeah.
and that didn't happen. And unfortunately, it ended in a way that was also pretty cruel. And
Mhm.
yeah, it is what it is. Like, you learn from those lessons, and it just kind of gives you a bit more motivation then for the next one. And fortunately enough for I think for GB, that we've got a squad that is still young and has been around now for, I think it's something stupid like the EDP, like the under 21 team that we had at the time. I think
Mhm.
they had a trip to Breda and we had 18 in that team. I think 16 have moved up to the GB squad. So like since so
Wow.
it's like a ridiculous stat. And it just shows that the success of that pathway, but also
Yeah.
like the tight bond that we have as a group. Like, we've known each other since we were like 18, 19. So we're getting a
Yeah.
bit older now, and it's a bit weird because no one's changing. But at the same time, the only thing that is changing is our age. And um, yeah, I think LA is definitely another opportunity to do that. And we'll see, and hopefully we can make amends from what happened in Paris, I'd say.
Yeah. The games were brilliant to watch. It was disappointing. Certainly from watching it, you were building so nicely, and but yeah, like you said, LA is only
Was it 3 years now?
3 years away
Phew,
now.
time
Yeah,
flies, eh?
I know. It's gonna come round
Yeah,
quickly. So yeah, you'll be fine.
yeah,
You'll be sunning yourself on the beach over there before you know it.
yeah, exactly. What was your thoughts on the Irish team getting, obviously making it and getting over?
Yeah. So it was brilliant, and so the last time they were there was Rio, and two very different
Mhm.
teams, if that makes sense. So the Rio team, it was a really experienced team.
Yeah,
They went all out for it. The Paris team, uh, it's got good levels of
yeah,
experience. Also, obviously, you got Davy Hart, who what is he like 205
yeah,
at this point, age wise, who knows? Um, and it's a really good, solid team, and I think if they can keep going the way they
yeah,
are, LA is definitely a possibility for them.
yeah,
The Pro League at the minute with them, it's it's really difficult because some of the results don't match how they've been
yeah,
playing. Uh, the past couple there against India don't reflect the match in some way, but again, a bit like the situation with Wales is there's like out of that Irish team that's there, what there's 4, 5, maybe maybe that's even too much. Like professional
Mm,
players, if that, so there's a whole bunch of them, aren't doing these pro league legs because they've got
yeah,
jobs, they've got things that they need to stay home to do, and they've probably used all annual leave on the Paris Games. I know that was certainly the case for the guys for Rio. So yeah, they've done fantastically. They just need as usual, just need to keep
yeah,
going. And hopefully this pro league helps rather than hinders them.
yeah. Because I remember that team after Rio. So I played my first tournament in Ireland for Wales. It was World League Round 2. I think it was held.
Yes.
I can't remember. Was it not held in? Was it Banbridge? No, I don't know where it was held. And
Was it? It was either Banbridge or
there's a
Lisnagar.
where the pitch is. There's like a big. There was like a big
Yeah.
hill, like not a hill, but like a what is like a little like a hill, and people like
Oh,
sat on the banks on the bank.
yes. It was Stormont or civil service. The club's called. So yeah, it
Yeah,
was up in Belfast.
and I was like a naive 16-year-old going to my first tournament, and it was against Ireland, and oh my gosh, that team was ridiculous. And
It was-
I think it was like a back four is it Shimmings? I think O'Donoghue's been playing midfield that time. Is it
yeah.
Jackson?
Yes, you had
Uh,
him. You probably would
Glegg?
have had the other Hart, and you would have had Gleghorn.
Yeah.
Um, just an unbelievable backline. Then you had Sean Murray was still in the midfield as well at that point. Um, yeah,
But
it was a brilliant
yeah,
team.
and that team was it was ridiculous. And I think you taught France a lesson and a half. I think in that tournament, and it was quite nice to watch, but also like from a Welsh perspective, you always just thought France were better than anyone else in that World League trip.
Yeah,
And it's probably because of the funding I think France have over any of like say the home nations or
yeah,
any like anyone in the United Kingdom, for example.
yes,
Um, and that Irish team just off the back of Rio just turned up and were just ridiculous. They were so good.
yeah,
And we played them, and it was actually like a really quite a special moment. I remember it to this day. It kind of gives me goosebumps because we sang our anthem, and then you guys sang your anthem, and oh my gosh, because you had everyone on the bank.
yeah.
And I love your anthem, by the way. Like it's my second favorite, bar the Welsh.
It's a good one.
And I was just there. I was like, "This is phenomenal. This is absolutely phenomenal." But yeah, I had like that was my first experience with that Irish team, and off the back of Rio, and um, it was a brilliant experience.
Yeah, that was an un that was an unreal team, and I think the the current Irish team have every possibility of being that team again. If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah, yeah,
I think they're all the same sort of age. They're all now playing at really high level hockey. There's a handful over in Europe playing in different leagues. The All Ireland League that we've got here is doing really well, and they're playing on those sort of top teams there. And yeah, it's starting to grow and head the right track. And same with the women's team. The women's team's doing brilliantly.
mm.
They in Tokyo, the men weren't, and they're again going from sort of strength to strength within that. They're just sitting there at the competing in that Nations Cup.
Yeah. And Wales
But
has just got. They're in Chile at the moment, are they not? Are they in Chile?
I think so.
Because Wales has
Yeah,
just been announced today. We're in Kuala Lumpur. Um,
very nice.
well, nice, but we've been handed a horrible draw. Oh my gosh! I look at the team like Scotland played. They had
Yeah,
like no disrespect to any of them, but the US, Oman,
Poland,
Poland, Austria,
uh,
and
Egypt, Egypt was it?
Egypt. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Egypt. We have New Zealand, like Pakistan, Malaysia,
yeah,
us, South Africa. I'm just like, what on earth? Who's
It's
picked these teams? This is like
in,
the pool of death.
yeah, in any other competition that's a top, you know, that's a
Yeah,
top tier competition, in any other, relation to anything, that's a one division, World Cup draw,
yeah.
let alone anything else, being that as the sort of second tier down. It's terrifying.
Well,
And
I think three of
yeah,
the teams have been to went to the last Olympics. Like, or two. No,
yeah.
it's South Africa, New
South
Zealand.
Africa and New Zealand, and then
Sorry,
the
yeah.
Welsh boys have been sort
Okay,
of part of the
but
GB
like
setup.
Malaysia, like could have got there. Pakistan
Could have,
also could have got there.
yeah.
And then I look at the Scotland's Nations
I
Cup.
know,
I'm like, lads, you've got Egypt. Like, no disrespect, but like,
I know.
it's ridiculous.
It was the only reason I was interested in that one was the fact that I wanted Scotland to do well, but I was interested to see how the US men did, especially
Yeah,
for the likes of the LA games.
yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how if this is their, take it as that was their starting point as their first sort of majorish tournament that we've
Mm,
sort of seen them at, what their development's going to be like over the next 3 years leading to the LA games.
yeah. I'll be honest, and I'm probably going to put my foot in it here. I think it's probably come just too early for the men. I think the women, because of the collegial system over there, I'm not completely familiar with it, but I'm aware that
Yeah.
it's a lot more structured than
Mhm.
the men's, and the men's,
Yeah.
like, they benefit from players playing in Europe or in the UK, or they don't have a
Yeah.
system in America at all, either if you're in college or if you're out of college, like,
Yeah.
to play in. And I think in 3 years you can't artificially do that, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I think the women's side, you've probably had what, 15 years, maybe 10 15 years
They've
of
they've
it.
they've built up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the men, it's probably not even started yet, I'd say, as a, like, so
This is probably their starting point.
yeah, so it's going to be
What are they going to
difficult.
be like in 10,
Exactly. Yeah,
10,
yeah.
15, same as the women?
Yeah, so in come back to me in 15 years time, and they'll probably be up there. But I know
Yeah.
that we played them in for Wales, and I think at the moment they're benefiting from a lot of maybe overseas players with US passports that can get some
Yeah.
international experience, and that's fine, but I just don't think it's sustainable. I think
Yeah.
a prime example of that now is maybe the Welsh rugby team, where it got got a few foreigners over in the glory days, shall we say, and then
Yeah.
now that the Welsh league is a little bit struggling, and the Welsh team is struggling because they haven't got, they put a rule you can't get any more overseas in, and stuff. So
Yes.
yeah, I don't think it's sustainable. So, and if you look at the women's side, I don't think they have, and famous last words, I don't know it completely, but I would say there's no, how do I say this correctly? I don't think there's any, like, people that have been born in other countries with a US passport. If you see, if it feels like
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they're all been
They've all come
come
through the
through the
system.
pathway in some way.
Yeah.
While you look at like
Yeah. I think
The
so.
Kepler brothers, they both, one lives in London, one lives in Holland. Both grew up in Germany.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. Because in France did very well with the French hockey team in develop. They've always been
Mm,
bubbling about the place. While I think this is going to be probably the first. I think it's going to be one of the first Olympic Games where, in terms of the hockey team, they're relatively new.
yeah.
Obviously, the French men's and women's team have always been bubbling about. Tokyo, the Japanese men, women, they're always there and thereabouts. So, to me, again, I could be wrong. It seems like this is the first sort of newish
Yeah.
to the scene hockey team. And I'll be interested to see how they get on against big scary teams.
Yeah, but I think it's something that they don't. I don't think they need to be scared because they're going to be at home in a home Olympics, for example, and I would say there's probably not much pressure on them at the moment. There's not much expectation, so it's kind of a free swing, and that's something that I've benefited from with Wales is that you play against Holland, Germany, England, any of the top teams. You're not meant to win. So if you do say draw to Germany in the Europeans not last year, the year before, like which we did, it's like it's essentially a free swing. Like so
that's true.
Hopefully it's good luck to them, and hopefully I'll be there, selection dependent, that play against them, but at the same time, hopefully not too well. So yeah.
Yeah. Look, Jacob, I will take up no more of your time. I have one final question that I've asked everybody.
Okay.
It's the important one. Before training, before a match, how do you put your socks and shoes on? Do you put both socks on, then both shoes, or sock, shoe, sock, shoe?
What do I do? I play with grippy socks.
Yes.
So I put my grippy socks on, so left, right. I then put on my cuts, like sleeves they're called, which are like your club socks with like the foot
the feet
off. Yeah. Left and right, and then shoes left and right. But I don't put shin pads on.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the common?
On the pitch,
what's the norm?
That one. It is both socks on, then both shoes.
Doesn't that look doesn't that feel weird if you're just gonna put a shoe on your left and you've got your bare foot out on the right?
Yeah, that's the scary answer if someone was to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look across the change room and someone's full shoe socks and then a bare foot out.
Yeah.
That's mental. That is.
I think that's not on.
Well, person.
That is not on.
No.
You got to get it checked, I think.
Yeah. No, it's not right, and it's been the question I've asked everyone. Everyone's had the same response. That there's that initial 30 seconds of going, actually, how do I put my stuff on? And then the realization of, no, that should be the only way someone puts socks and shoes on.
So I got one for you as well. Right? I saw a chamois get gripped up from the bottom to the top the other day.
Yeah.
That's not on.
That's the way to do it.
That's not on.
No, that's the way to do it.
No. You take the mick.
Yeah. No. If someone comes in and asks for a chamois in here, we always
so you go from there up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how do you know the length? Then you've got like dangling thing up here, or you might not have a dangling leg. Dangling. Sorry, you might have it up like to here.
Yeah, but I do like 5 in a day when people come in, so I know when to start them.
Yeah, but that's you, right? If you're saying to a kid, can you grip your
still go bottom to top?
Yeah, but grips are all different sizes.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. If you pick up a Shamrocks or you pick up a Gribbid, they're different sizes.
Yeah, but those are bad examples. If you pick up a chamois, an unbranded or embossed chamois, they're all the same length because they all come from the same lady. There's a lady in Holland, the Holland area, that makes them.
Is it? Is that true?
She's
got like a monopoly.
Them. Yeah, if it does, it's something like if it doesn't come from her, it can't be called a chamois or something like that.
Really?
Don't fully quote me on that. But yeah, if you see one that's the traditional yellow, white, or grey.
Yeah.
Even have any sitting here.
So I've got a white one here, and that's not even a Gribbid, I don't think. That's just like a normal one.
Yeah, that's probably
from this lady,
because she just makes them, and I think brands had to go to her and be like, "Can you please make a white and a grey one?" While she was like, "The only color I'm doing is a traditional chamois, yellow," and then has gone for those two. But yeah, they're all the same length, so I know. But if you start at the bottom and go up, that's the way your hand goes down the stick, so you don't get caught.
But if you just do it tight enough, it doesn't get caught anyway.
Yeah, but that's if you do it tight enough. Most people aren't doing it tight enough. But if you go, so if you bring your hand down the stick, it goes.
No, I
quicker.
actually understand that. I
Yeah.
do understand that. It's just the practicality of it. I just don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you learn something new every day. I might have to give it a go tomorrow.
You'll have to have a pair of scissors with you.
See, that's another thing. Why do you need a pair of scissors? Just like with
trim it
my
and it
way, you
makes
could,
a
or not
noise.
my way. Yeah, not my way, but the way that I've been. I don't even know who told me. I just went
It
from the
just
top.
happens. Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't need any scissors there.
Yeah, because we always tend to go, if you start from the top, if you all of a sudden your chamois comes off seconds before training or a match, start from the top and work down, because you don't need scissors and tape, 90 millimeters of tape and stuff like that. But if you want to get a really good precise one, start from the bottom of the handle and work down, because you can get it so it sits just below the end cap and all of that sort of stuff. So we tend to do it here because we have a bit more time, and because Stephen, the boss, when he set this all up, he started doing chamois grips before, and he's left-handed, so we all learned from him. So we're all right-handed, but only can do it with the left, because that's how we learned it. So it all looks silly when we do it because we're all over the place.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you learn something new every day then.
Absolutely, but it's good to hear that you're not a complete psycho and have a barefoot out.
No, absolutely not. I actually don't like getting
keep an eye on that in the changing room.
I actually don't. Not. I don't think I've ever seen it either. And if I did see it, words would be had.
Yeah, good. You'll have to tell someone off.
Yeah.
But now you've probably never maybe noticed it.
Yeah.
But now you'll definitely notice it.
Yeah. No, you say that. Yeah, I'll let you know.
And call them out on it, because it is call-out behaviour.
Exactly.
Is there anything you want to plug before you head off?
No, to be honest with you, I think we've spoken about it. But yeah, I'd just say Shrey, they've been brilliant for me. Been brilliant. They're brilliant sticks. They're brilliant equipment. Go there and try it. And you might fall in love with it, and you might never change again. But what I would recommend is get yourselves down to the shop and really don't look at the price tag. And I know that's weird for me to say, but sometimes sticks are way too expensive, and you don't need the most expensive stick. Just pick the stick that's right for you and you like the most. And I think Shrey do have those, but again, I'm not going to force people to do it, and I'd much rather people play with what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, well said. But listen, guys, thank you very much for watching. And which is completely understandable if you don't want to watch my face for an hour and a bit. You can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Let us know in the comments below how you do your chamois grip and how you put your socks and shoes on. Thank you very much for watching. Jacob, once again, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's been brilliant.